Who among us hasn't dreamed of creating a home theater? It seems pretty simple. All we really need is a bit of free wall space, or even the ceiling, and a projector. The problem starts when we dive into searching for the right equipment. Many unaware consumers choose their first projector based on made-up specifications and all the advertising slogans given by dishonest sellers. That's why the most popular models are often the ones that can only discourage you when you try to use them. It turns out they're nowhere near 4K. The brightness barely manages even in a completely dark room, and the colors are totally washed out. Moreover, the system can't handle streaming. It's time to put an end to mediocrity, because we've received a projector that truly deserves the attention of a real movie enthusiast. The well-known and recommended model JMGO N1S has finally received an update. That's why there's a special edition added to its name. A sleek and practical home projector with true full high-definition resolution, equipped with a certified Android television system with a Google television overlay, displays the image using modern triple laser beam technology, which allows it to achieve color reproduction at the level of 110% of the broadcast television 2020 standard. It may be hard to believe, but thanks to this technology, the projector still remains small. The image size can reach up to 200 inches, and it also has built-in speakers that sound pretty good. This is Powell from the TechManiac HD channel. You're welcome. If you're just starting your adventure with projectors, the name JMGO might not mean much to you. And that's a shame, because this brand, whose original Chinese name is JMGO, has been on the market since 2011 and specializes in producing high-quality projectors. As one of the first, it integrated the Google television system with official support for Netflix. It's an innovative brand that not only uses a modern triple laser system as a light source, but also develops its own technologies, such as Melk lenses, which further improve image quality. More than 580 patents from this brand show that they don't want to follow established standards, but rather go their own way. The manufacturer surprises positively from the start, as the packaging itself doubles as a case. The printed sleeve goes in the trash after unpacking, but this box will come in handy for much longer. It is made of a material similar to reinforced styrofoam. It's expanded polypropylene, which means expanded polypropylene. A durable, lightweight material and a handle and latch protect valuable contents during transport. There is a separate compartment here for the projector itself, and the set of accessories is packed in a box and placed in an additional compartment. This is a sizable power brick with an attached cable, along with a separate remote control that includes batteries. It's easy to miss the small Allen key here, which is used to adjust the side brackets. In the documentation, we find a very simple user manual in the form of a booklet and a card explaining how to start up the new device for the first time. I'm missing an HDMI cable here, but apparently the manufacturer realizes that the built-in operating system is the main source of video content for most users. I won't hide the fact that although I've heard a lot about the JMGO brand, this is actually my first personal experience with their device. However, I must admit the device looks impressive. Although the very idea of placing the main part of the case on an adjustable stand isn't exactly new. Such a design is called a gimbal, but here, both the style and the build quality, at least in my opinion, are very good. The manufacturer decided to use plastics with a delicate, matte finish texture. The surface doesn't get dirty or scratched too easily. The combination of white with light gray and the rounded shapes make JMGO N1S Special Edition look really modern, and the fit of the components and the overall sturdiness of the case are definitely a plus. On the front, the lens eye and the area housing the sensors stand out clearly, which are used for automatically correcting image curvature and sharpness. There's also a small printed manufacturer's logo here. The rear panel features useful ports. From the HDMI 2.1 port here with support for the E-audio return channel through USB-A, although only in the now archaic 2.0 version to the mini jack audio output. At this point, you can notice the absence of a power connector. The base and the main part with the heart of the projector suspended on it form a cohesive whole. You can even see it on the sideline of the design, where the arm is a stylistic extension of the casing. The side openings partially serve as a cover for the built-in speakers, but some of them also provide proper ventilation. A physical power button is integrated at the front, and it lights up when the device is in use. The base provides an extremely convenient vertical adjustment system here, with a range of up to 127 degrees. We can direct the image straight ahead, but also much lower. One thing that's possible in very few projectors or requires expensive tripods is the ceiling projection option. Here it's available without any hassle. The adjustment is stepless, but even so, the desired setting stays firmly in place. Under the side covers, there are screws that can be tightened with the included wrench. Yes, in case after prolonged use the arms start to move too freely. During the tests, I didn't have to do that, but I tightened them in front of the camera just to see what effect they have. The only issue may be using the vertical position while simultaneously connecting a standard HDMI cable or medium-sized flash drive. In that case, we won't get a full 90 degrees, but we'll only tilt the lens a little over 45 degrees upward. That's just a bit of complaining on my part, because a small flash drive, one that's up to 2.5 centimeters, will fit, and honestly, for a few or even a dozen zlotys, you can buy a special angled USB or HDMI cable, and then you can connect whatever you want, however you want. Alright, but where is the power socket? Well, it's located right in the base. This way, it doesn't block the free positioning of the case, and the cable is also less noticeable. Using an external power supply made it possible to reduce the size of the projector itself, making it extremely compact. There are anti-slip rubber pads on the bottom of the base, which provide stability on a flat surface, and in the center there's a 1/4-inch mounting thread. The manufacturer offers various types of wall mounts, ceiling mounts, and tripods designed for this projector. Although they are very aesthetically pleasing, I personally used a photography tripod here, and due to the relatively low weight of this model, which is about 1.8 kilograms, even a simple tripod is enough for it. The base serves one more function. The large cutout at the back makes it easy to use as a handle for carrying the projector. The device is complemented by a remote control. This is the main method of operation, and it connects via Bluetooth. It's lightweight and handy. The basic directional buttons are arranged in a circle with a confirmation key in the center. Besides volume control, there are standard Android television buttons like back, main menu shortcut, context menu, and quick settings access. We also have additional white buttons here linked to the most popular video platforms, as well as a button for selecting the device connected via HDMI. There's also a button to activate the microphone built into the remote. This projector can also serve as the multimedia center of your home theater thanks to its software. In fact, for most home uses, the built-in system is more than enough. The most sensible choice is Android television. The marked version is number 11, and the security updates are from December of last year. Additionally, we have a system overlay in the form of Google Television, which means even greater integration with their services, but it also allows for better control over the content being played. This is especially important for parents because you can create a special profile with selected restrictions specifically for your children. The rest of the interface won't be anything new, especially for people who have already used TVs based on Android. The main menu with video thumbnails and quick access to several pre-installed apps. Popular video streaming services like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Prime Video are among them. We can easily download others from the official Google Play Store. One of the most important things to pay attention to when buying this type of device is whether it supports digital rights management technology. The tested projector from JMGO stands out with the highest level of security in digital rights management technology. We're talking about Widevine L1 here. Due to the lack of a proper encoding, budget devices often have their own versions of streaming apps which do not provide full quality or resolution. In the case of the tested model, N1S Special Edition, we don't have to worry about playback issues because this device already meets all legal requirements and can therefore use official supported versions of apps in the highest possible quality. The system is powered by the MediaTek 9630 or M7332. Well, depending on whether you trust the specifications listed on the store's website or the data from the app, these are similar in performance quad-core advanced reduced instruction set computer machine units dedicated specifically for video devices. Along with 2 GB of RAM, this is more than enough for the projector's needs and for playing video in up to 1080p at 60 frames per second, even with high dynamic range. The menu is responsive, and the device is ready to work in less than a minute from a cold start, meaning after a complete shutdown or disconnecting the power. In typical sleep mode, controls are active almost immediately after waking up. There are occasional minimal stutters, but only right after starting a video, for example from YouTube. After that, scrolling is quick, responsive, and smooth with no issues. I tested several clips in different codecs resolutions and some with a higher bitrate. Unfortunately, 4K materials are already too much of a challenge. However, you should remember that this is a projector with native full high-definition resolution, and at this quality there was no problem with network playback via Wi-Fi, as well as watching files from a USB drive. Using higher resolutions is even unavailable through the official YouTube app, as well as the alternative SmartTube player. But we can be sure that all modern video codecs are supported in 1080p, including high-efficiency video coding and AO Media Video 1. If you really insist, you can run some simple 3D games, but you shouldn't expect too much in this area. Racing games like Beach Buggy Racing running directly from the projector are definitely fun, not only for younger users. I also tested a few other games that were just as lightweight but enjoyable to play with the remote, and they also ran perfectly smoothly. The device is also equipped with 32 GB of storage, of which almost 25.5 GB are available to the user, so there's no need to worry that your favorite streaming apps won't fit. There's also enough space for possible system updates, which can happen automatically here. A voice assistant is built into the system. It's operated using the included remote. This lets us quickly find a movie in the app, play the Lego animated movie, or we can even ask something more general while in the main menu. There's also nothing stopping us from asking the assistant about the current weather. For example, what will the weather be like tomorrow? This projector is also able to control other devices connected to your smart home. We mainly plan to use this projector as a home multimedia center connecting directly to streaming services. We tested several popular platforms and didn't encounter any difficulties while watching content from Netflix, Disney+, and Prime Video. Both the image quality, its smoothness, and the stability of the network connection remained at a high level. The JMGO N1S Special Edition projector supports 5 GHz Wi-Fi, which ensures reliability in data transmission. The system also has integrated Chromecast support for convenient video streaming from smartphones, tablets, or computers. Tapping the on-screen icon transfers playback directly to the large format. In addition, we can use the USB port as a source to connect an external storage device. It's only USB 2.0, but for playing movies, we don't really need higher transfer speeds anyway. There's a pre-installed file player here, but you can use practically any application. I recommend the Nova Video Player, which makes the best use of the built-in video and audio codecs. Although the projector is a self-sufficient tool providing home entertainment, you can connect an external source of video and audio to it via HDMI. It can be a Blu-ray player, set-top box, computer, or console. CEC support is also included here, which means that one remote control, in this case the one from the projector, allows you to control the other devices. But it's not just about movies, because when you have a projector like this, you'd also want to play a little on it. That's why it's worth performing a lag test. A gaming monitor and the projector were both connected to one graphics card. It may not be a perfect method, but it's good enough. When the device was in standard mode, judging by several captured frames like this, I can say that the delay, or so-called input lag, is about 120 milliseconds. After going into the picture settings and activating the low latency mode, we can notice a significant improvement. Getting down to 50 milliseconds is already a good result for a projector. Therefore, it's suitable for gaming, but not for competitive gaming. Connecting a 10-inch gaming laptop to the projector can be quite impressive. The 60 Hz refresh rate is compensated by the display's size. Let's discuss the image quality now. According to the manufacturer, the tested model can display an image from 40 up to 200 inches. The Projector Central website allows you to quickly and easily check what distance is required to achieve the desired diagonal size. We've also prepared a special graphic for you where you can see exactly how much space you need to set aside for N1S Special Edition. For a 200-inch screen, we need not only a wall or a screen that's almost 4.5 meters wide and 2.5 meters high, but also enough free space to move the projector back about 5 3/10 meters. The manufacturer significantly overestimated the potential screen size in this case. Focus is set automatically here when you start up or move the projector, and it's controlled by a built-in mechanism, but it has such a wide range that, in my opinion, you can realistically get a minimum of about 20 inches and even go a bit over 220 inches. The image remains sharp, but for a larger size you need to provide a darker environment. How about a movie night in front of the house on a warm summer evening in a really large format? With this projector, it's absolutely possible. In addition to focus adjustment, JMGO also offers digital image curvature correction and zoom. The front sensors enable these automatic functions, which are very quick and almost undetectable to the user. Adjustment and sharpening happen on the fly. The projector also needs to be equipped with a position sensor, because it can not only detect a change in its position, but also the direction. If we use a ceiling mount, it will immediately switch to the rotated image mode. These functions are active by default, but each can be disabled, and the curvature settings can be manually adjusted. If we use a fixed position, it's enough to enter the system menu once, set it up, and then forget about it for good. However, if you use the projector more often in different places and conditions and want to perfectly adjust the position of the displayed image each time, you'll need to go through several sections of options. A direct shortcut on the remote would be useful in this case. The main advantage of the JMGO N1S Special Edition model is its display method. This projector uses triple laser beam technology, supported by a proprietary optical technology called Microstructure Adaptive Laser Control, or MALC 2.0. Simply put, it's a light diffuser consisting of 4 layers and an LSR module, Dynamic Light Spectacle Reducer. This type of projector can boast a high degree of color reproduction, among other benefits. Here we have 10-bit depth, as much as 110% of the broadcast television 2020 color spectrum and color accuracy, with a delta E below 1. For those less familiar, I'll let you know that most people won't notice color differences at a level below 3. Another strong point of this model is its excellent brightness uniformity. Typically for such laser projectors, it's usually 85%, but here we're seeing over 95%. This is an excellent result. In this model, laser speckle occurrence has been reduced by 97%. This is a certain drawback of the laser technology itself, which appears as a kind of noise visible when you're close to the screen, but it's not as pronounced as with many other manufacturers. It's also worth knowing that laser projectors are distinguished by their longer lifespan. In this case, it's as much as 30,000 hours. The contrast here is 1600:1, and the manufacturer also states that the brightness reaches 800 isolumens. Let's stop at the last one, as brightness is one of the most critical parameters. We decided to check how much the value given by the manufacturer matches the actual measurement. At home, the easiest way is to use the American National Standards Institute lumens measurement method. For simplicity, it is assumed that 1 American National Standards Institute lumen equals 8/10 of an International Organization for Standardization lumen. Therefore, this model should achieve around 1,000 American National Standards Institute lumens. The measurement itself involves dividing the displayed area into 9 equal sections and measuring the light at the center of each one. The average value is then calculated and multiplied by the screen area. The measurement is carried out on a white projection screen with a mandatory diagonal of 80 inches in a completely darkened room. After counting, it comes out to as much as 1,220 American National Standards Institute lumens, or, if you prefer, 976 International Organization for Standardization lumens, so it's much more than what the specification states. I can refer to the review of another projector from our blog as a reminder. Ito Seal Pro, in theory, should offer the same brightness as JMGO N1S Special Edition, which is 1,000 American National Standards Institute lumens, but measurements showed that it only had an average of 510. Looking at the measurement table, we can see that the uniformity of the backlight is very high. A projector using this technology absolutely outperforms those using LED backlighting or a single laser, which can be more than 20% dimmer in the corners compared to the center of the image. At this level of brightness, JMGO can also be used in a room that is only partially darkened. Among the options, we also find the ability to reduce the light output, which can definitely come in handy with such a bright projector. By default, it is set to maximum. I have no complaints about the contrast and color reproduction. Even in the basic picture mode, it looks excellent, although we really have a lot of room for configuration here. First, you can choose from several predefined modes, including vivid color enhancement or a warmer and less saturated movie mode. There are also user settings. A rich set of options starts with editing contrast, choosing the color temperature, changing the gamma level, and independent control of hue, saturation, brightness, and white balance correction for each of the RGB channels. It offers the ability to adjust the level of noise reduction. You might wonder who needs all this, but as you can see, I'm projecting the image onto a wall and it's not white at all. It's ivory colored. It's a warm shade of white with a subtle creamy or slightly yellowish tone. That's why, by reducing a bit of red in the settings and adding a touch of blue, even on such a creamy wall, the image will be much closer to perfect. This projector features a color and brightness enhancement mode and supports the high dynamic range 10 standard. Compatible materials automatically switch to this mode, with an indicator appearing in the corner of the screen. On other devices, activating high dynamic range mode was associated with significant distortions in the image. In this case, high dynamic range does not introduce such distortions or artificial oversaturation of colors with blown-out whites. High dynamic range is well balanced here, and additionally, there is an option in the system menu that allows you to completely deactivate it regardless of the application. I had a rough idea of what to expect from the image produced by a triple laser, and yes, I am impressed. But the audio in this projector is a complete surprise for me, and a very positive one at that. I thought that the phrase "master sound powered by JMGO" was just an empty marketing slogan. Getting good sound quality from such a small casing would seem almost impossible, and yet... It's true that we only have 2 stereo speakers here, each with 5 watts of power, but they deliver clear audio, with the lower range going down to as low as 55 Hz. The projector offers support for Dolby Audio and has quite a few settings that let you adjust the sound to your needs. At home, the volume is enough, and based on my measurements from 1 meter away, it surpasses 80 decibels. If you want to use the device outdoors or with a group of children, it's better to use external speakers in that case. We can connect these via cable using a 3.5mm mini jack, which is a universal solution, or through Bluetooth 5.1. Practically every speaker or home theater system has the option to connect with this type of cable, but it only provides an analog stereo system. The HDMI port is a better choice. Of course, T is the default video input, but it can also serve as a socket with an audio return channel function. If you have speakers that support AirKey, it's worth using this solution. We tested this model with the Sharp HTSB 700 soundbar, which you can find a review of on our blog. Although when using HDMI EARC, we have to remember that it's not possible to connect another device to display an image through the projector at the same time, because we only have one HDMI port here. That's why the most convenient solution seems to be using Bluetooth, which allows you to wirelessly connect multiple devices, from the keyboard and mouse to a game controller and even speakers. Pairing the projector with an audio system is a real game changer, working great both at home and during outdoor screenings. Interestingly, the JMGO projector can also function as a Bluetooth speaker. By activating dedicated mode, you can connect to the projector using your smartphone or other device. In this mode, the projector automatically turns off the light source, allowing you to use the built-in stereo system. The function remains active until you use the remote control or end the connection with the wireless player, offering a convenient and, after all, versatile solution for lovers of good sound quality. And while we're still on the topic of sound, it's impossible not to mention the cooling fan. There is no doubt that projectors, due to their high-intensity light source enclosed in a small casing, require an efficient cooling system. Therefore, the level of noise generated is crucial for user comfort. In this aspect, the designers definitely rose to the challenge. Cool air is drawn in here through the side grills and then blown out through the rear ventilation opening. The noise level, measured from a distance of 1 meter, is about 38 decibels, with the highest values recorded directly behind the device. This means that during a movie screening, the fan remains practically unnoticeable, and even in an absolutely quiet environment, it doesn't pose much of a problem. Just listen for yourselves. The microphone is placed almost directly at the air outlet, and you can barely hear anything. With this projector, even a quiet office mouse makes a lot of noise. Clicking the remote is also louder than the fan noise itself, but I mean the remote itself, not the system sounds. In my opinion, this is a huge advantage of this design, and despite such quiet operation, I haven't noticed any problems related to the projector overheating. After a few sessions with JMGO N1S, I have to admit that this is one of the most interesting projectors on the market. It's true that a more powerful projector wouldn't hurt here, but this is a level of performance comparable to a typical external Android box device like the Xiaomi Television Mi Box S 2nd generation. The system works stably, and importantly, we have official Netflix certification. Design, build quality, ease of adjustment, and mobility go hand in hand with what it displays. The image sharpness is more than adequate. The native 1080p resolution is sharp enough that for home use and from a few meters away from the projection screen, there's nothing to complain about. Of course, 4K wouldn't hurt here, but it's better to have perfectly sharp 1080p from a triple color laser than fake blurry pseudo 4K from a poor projector. The technology used in this price range is what makes this projector powerful. A contrast ratio of 1600 to 1 will satisfy the average user, and the overall brightness doesn't rule out using this model even in a partially lit environment, which in itself is already a huge success. Additionally, you can easily achieve a very large format, even over 200 inches. Laser technology also consumes much less electricity than liquid crystal display projectors. Maybe the external power supply has a rated power of 100 watts, but the actual consumption I measured at maximum brightness barely reached 60 watts, and when I lowered the brightness, it was only 35 watts. The built-in audio system in equipment of this size also deserves huge praise, and at the same time, we still have the option to connect an external speaker system both wired and wirelessly. Earlier, I didn't even mention that the system also supports the somewhat forgotten playback of 3D video in various technologies, including by connecting a Blu-ray drive. However, active 3D glasses are required. The projector also has dedicated smartphone apps. It allows you to remotely turn on the device via Bluetooth as well as control it if your smartphone is on the same Wi-Fi network. It's worth mentioning one of the more interesting features of the projector, which is the eye protection mode. Just as we shouldn't look directly at the sun, it's also not recommended to look straight into the projector lens. Sometimes during a screening, you may need to walk between the projector and the screen. In these situations, the built-in sensors that handle automatic image correction detect movement. When the light beam is interrupted, the projector dims the image and displays an appropriate message. When the user moves away, playback automatically returns to its previous state. The sensitivity of this system can be adjusted in the settings or turned off completely, but for safety reasons, especially in homes with little movie fans, it's worth keeping this feature enabled. The optics in this projector seem to be well protected, which means that its long-term maintenance will be limited to simply wiping dust off the lens. When it comes to cleaning the interior, although we don't have direct access, the manufacturer has provided a forced air blowing function. After activating the dedicated option, the fan, which normally operates at very low speeds, runs at full power for 1 minute, allowing any dust inside the device to be removed. The experience of using it is absolutely excellent. Therefore, I can wholeheartedly recommend this projector to you. However, if you are looking for equally excellent equipment, but the 1080p resolution of this tested model bothers you, I can tell you that JMGO offers almost identical models that support native 4K resolution. Depending on your budget, you can find devices from them that offer up to 3.5 times more brightness than the tested unit. The question is, however, whether such brightness is really necessary for home use. Anyway, in this material we checked what JMGO N1S Special Edition can do, and it can really do a lot. Now you can compare prices of this model and higher resolution ones yourself. All links are in the video description below. Until next time, take care, bye.